Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Stay. This is Coloring Bliss, and today I have a sparkly, shiny, fun product review. We're going to unbox and review the Derwent Metallic Paint Set. Back in March of 2022, we did a battle of the metallic color pencils, and the Derwent set I had at that time was this one right here, and these pencils inside this kit came in number 3 in our battle, so they did pretty good. Liked them so much that I had to get the full set. But with this set here, it's called the Derwent Metallic Mixed-Media Set, there came 6 little pans of metallic watercolor paint. And in that video in March, I asked you, would you like me to review and tell you how I feel about these paints right here? Well, this is the video I promised because you requested it. So we're going to talk about Derwent Metallic Pencils and their line of metallic paints. Should you buy them? Are they beautiful? Let's find out. Now, just a second, Jennifer, before you get started, I need to tell everyone about our Mother's Day coloring pages that are available. This one right here is free for a limited time to celebrate Mother's Day. So follow the link in the video description, download this, color it for someone you love. It's perfect. Now we have our Bliss artist, whose name is Alia, and she's been working hard for us. She's created 4 very charming coloring pages, and these 4 pages are part of the premium library. That means it's $5 a month to get into that premium library, and you get hundreds and hundreds of adorable coloring pages like this for different seasons and holidays, and your $5 goes towards supporting us here at Coloring Bliss. Thanks, Alia, for drawing these really beautiful coloring pages. Come and get them, and happy Mother's Day, everyone. So like I said in the intro, this is the set that I originally purchased of the Derwent Metallic Pencils, and it came with these 6 pans right here of watercolor. They're metallic watercolors, and it came with a really nice Derwent water brush. So it's a pretty cool kit. Right now this kit is extremely expensive, and I would say maybe it's not a good time to purchase it. Let's see, it's $62.50 for this kit right here. So when I was researching these paints and kind of testing them and seeing what they would do, I found out that there were actually 12 colors in the line, and I wanted to see all 12 after swatching the original 6 that I received. So I brought in this little set right here, and it is right now about $24 depending on what website you look at. That's here in the US in May of 2022. So it's a pretty good deal for a little set of paints. Let's see what it's like here. This is what the box looks like. Has this really fun little fish, and if you notice, they're painting on black. So we're going to be swatching on both white and on black paper today to see how these metallic paints perform. On the back, it just says striking on both black and white, 12 shades, mixed beautifully, extra fine metallic pigments. Let's see, their shimmer, maintaining their shimmer once they dry, apply in creamy opaque strokes to layer and blend on the page. Okay, so let's unbox these. I haven't opened these. Like I said, I've already played a little bit with the 6 pans that came in my mixed media set, but I really wanted to see the full range of colors. And these pans are actually also available open stock if you just want to buy 1 or 2 colors that excite you. Each pan is $2.50 right now on Dick Blake. So this is the case that it comes in. Looks like it has some plastic on it. It's a plastic palette. Okay, has some mixing sections up here. That's nice. And a very interesting swatch chart. So it's not really printed on anything, like it's not a watercolor paper. It's really interesting. I've never seen that. I guess the advantage of this paper is that it's waterproof. So when we keep it in here and move it in and out, it's not going to get messed up from the water. Here's our 6 colors, and we get a little sponge over here for cleaning off our brush, and we get another water brush. I didn't realize that was coming in this set. I should have realized. It's right there on the cover. Let's take this plastic off. Look to me like you need to peel it off back here. There we go. Now the plastic palettes aren't necessarily my favorite. Sometimes they have trouble holding the little pans in place, so we'll see how that goes. It kind of looks like you can lift out this whole tray. Oh yeah, see? So this whole 6 set right here can come out, and they're all pretty loose in there. Let's see if I can get them back where they belong. Just a second. Okay, so the first thing I see that I'm not too excited about is how loose these little, the actual paint is inside the pan. That's going to be frustrating until they sort of liquefy and settle themselves in. And I'm checking to see, yeah, you can remove the actual, it's got an inner cup holding the pigment and then this big 6-part tray that then fits into here. And I like, if you wanted to, you could pop these out and set them like this and have lots of different mixing areas if you wanted to. So I'm going to pop these back in, and it looks to me like, thankfully, the swatch chart up here is coordinating with the way the colors are laid out here, so I should be able to find the colors quickly. I say that because this was tricky to know what colors were provided, which ones were which. You can see these are also loose. That comes in the mixed media set. You can pop this thing out, and I could put these in here if I wanted to, so that's going to be handy, but there's no indications on the actual pans here that tell you the color names that are included. On the back, I think, yeah, even on the back it didn't say, so I had to go to, I believe it was Dick Blick, and I looked up what colors came in this set and made my best guess as to which one is which, and I'll show you those here in just a minute. Okay, so as far as this little water brush goes, it comes apart into 2 pieces. It has a little plug on this end. You put the water in there and then you screw it together. So I'm guessing as a full length, it's not going to fit. Wow, it's so close to fitting. It's a little frustrating. If they'd gotten rid of this little sponge section, then this little guy could fit all fully assembled. I'm gonna go fill them up with water so we can test it. All right, so I filled it up to about here with water, and I just want to make sure that it will hold all the water when the plug's in, and it does. And screw this on, and we will give it a go as we're testing this paint. Now, usually the bristles have a little bit of, it's either a really water-soluble glue or even a bit of soap that they put on the bristles to keep them all straight and nice. So you'll want to rinse off the tip to wash that out. I used to think you could just kind of crack it off, which you can, but it's not good for the bristles to do that. So you want to add a little bit of water and then just gently squeeze, and it should totally relax the bristles, and you should be ready to paint. The next thing we want to do to prepare for swatching is grab a water spritzer, and I like to spray all of the pans, get them liquefying and nice and juicy, so it's really fast and easy to do the swatching. Okay, so for the swatching, I want to swatch in 2 places. I have 2 swatch books ready. And this one right here I have printed on my watercolor paper. Let me show you the cover of this one right here. I like this particular swatch book because it has uniform size squares, so I can quickly and easily label and swatch down a whole bunch of products all together here in this swatch book. We also sell swatch books that have different size squares. So for instance, I could have used a page that had 12 uniform squares, and then that whole set would take up the whole page and I could do more note taking. And yeah, so there's other options over at our website. You can also get this printed on black paper, which is this big boy right here. So I have a bunch of things swatched in this book already. We'll look at some of the metallic paints as we go along to compare how they're working compared to other brands. For instance, this is an acrylic paint right here, my pearlescent acrylic inks that I love. There's all kinds of stuff like that in this book that we're going to look at. I'm going to pick a page and we're going to swatch on both. All right, I've got my two swatch books all labeled and ready. What I want to see is the 12 pan set that I just purchased and we just unboxed. I want to see the 6 pans that are in the mixed media set, this one right here. And I want to see all 20 pencils that come in this line. I'm excited. Let's start by swatching the 12 pan set. As I'm swatching the 12 pan set, I want to see how opaque these are, how shiny they are, do they really have a good metallic paint set, and their colors. Is it a good color range that I could do a full coloring page with these paints? Now I'm using the water brush for these swatches. So what happens with a water brush is it's always feeding water to those bristles. So the very left side of the swatch box is going to be a much more full pigment payoff. And as we move to the right of the swatch box, we get a more watered down version of that paint. So it'll be interesting to see both sides of these swatches. Now the water brush itself, I'm cleaning off between each color, and one thing I'm not happy about with this water brush is the cap doesn't post on the back of the water brush. It looks like it's intended to, but it doesn't stay on, so it ends up feeling very small in the hand. Another thing to take note of while I'm swatching here is that the white paper on the left is actual watercolor paper, but the black paper on the right is just a high quality black cardstock. So we'll see the paints working on both surfaces. I've got the 12 pans all swatched. I want to give them a lot of time to really dry naturally. I'm not going to hit it with heat or air or anything. So while these two rows are drying really well, I'm going to go ahead and swatch the 6 pans that are included in the mixed media set, just so we can see if you decide to buy that set, what colors you'll get. And I'm going to swatch out the 20 pencils. For these 6 swatches, I'm going to use a round watercolor brush to do them so that we get to see how the paint paints out not using a water brush. Next up, we're going to swatch the 20 metallic pencils that come in the metallic pencil gift set. All 20 pencils are available open stock, but these are not water soluble, so don't expect anything to happen when you hit them with water, at least nothing significant. The swatches are all done. We have lots to talk about. First thing I want to get out of the way here is that some of these metallic color pencils are very crummy. I'm going to bring up the black for you. Now, in case you're wondering, the picture behind Rose there, that is the picture that we started coloring together last week. That's how it turned out. Okay, Rose has settled back down. Let's look at the crumb issue here. Now, I noticed it really strongly here with the pewter. Hopefully you can see the crumbs up here. But can you see how it looks a little dusty right here? This is what happens with crumbs. If they get out of control, they can go down and smudge onto your paper. So crumbs, yeah, on turquoise you can see the crumbs there too. Crumbs are an issue, something to keep in mind if that really bugs you. These are a little bit crummy, although some of the colors weren't crummy at all, like blue and red. So I'm going to clean this off using a brush, get rid of all those crumbs so that I don't have to worry about smudging them. All right, let's talk about the swatches. And the next thing I want to discuss together is how the swatch is painted out using the two different paintbrushes. So we used the water brush for the top 12 swatches, and then these 6 swatches I used a round watercolor brush. So the water brushes are great because they're handy. They have the water in them. You don't have to have a glass of separate water. They're just great, but they do work differently than a standard watercolor brush. So we can see that really plainly here on the watercolor paper with the color silver. Right here, you can see how it transitions from a really full pigmented color into a much more watered down version of itself. Right here on this silver, I used the paintbrush, and you get a much more creamy, opaque version. This is called wet on dry when you do it like this, and sometimes you need to add water to it to get the effect you want, but with these watercolor paints, I would highly recommend using a watercolor brush because overall, look at the better payoff in color that we got instead of these like watered down versions. So here's red with a watercolor brush, and here is red with a this is a water brush and this is a watercolor brush. So yeah, the other thing that happens with water brushes is that their nylon bristles will get stained. It doesn't really hurt anything. Just make sure you clean those bristles really good on a paper towel with a little water or on a little sponge like what they have provided here to make sure you get all the pigment out before you go to the next one. So staining will happen, but it's not a deal breaker. Now, as you can tell, the strongest colored paint we had here was the purple. Let's look at that beautiful purple and how it paid off. Look at that. And that was with the water brush. So even feeding water to it, it stayed so creamy and strong with the color. So pretty. Look at it here on the black paper, how pretty that purple is. So I think right now my favorite color is the purple. Okay, so we've discussed the two different brushes. Let's look at the colors and the shine payoff, starting with the white paper. I'm going to move this, let me get my face off of here, and move the whole thing in the light so that you can see what things catch the light with a nice metallic shine and what things are falling flat. Some surprises here, copper, that pencil right there, falling flat. Up here, when you look at silver versus silver, you can see how the one that I painted with a watercolor brush has much more shine, and that's just because we got more paint laid down. These two right here were my two favorites after the first time I swatched these 6. So you can see lime gold here, sunset here, and sunset here. And the two sunsets, one with a water brush and one with a watercolor brush. Let me move those in the light. The difference between these two colors and all the other colors seems to be that these have a gold undertone. So you're getting like a 2-color payoff. The lime gold, lime color, and then the gold. And the sunset's doing the same thing. Sort of a pretty red-orange color with the gold thrown in. In general, I think that the Derwent paints do better with gold. Anytime they have a more silvery base, they don't have much shine. In fact, they're a little disappointing. These 6 here that I got originally, I was really pleased with the silver, sunset, and lime gold, and I was hopeful that there would be more colors like those 3 in the 12 set. But, you know, we did get pale gold, and those have a nice shine, and the silver, but the other ones, ice blue, blue, green, red, pink, purple, and graphite, as far as a metallic shiny payoff, they're a little disappointing. Let's look at them on black paper together now. I'll do the same thing, pick it up, and start moving it around. Now, the advantage of the black paper is that you get black shining up through the products instead of white shining up through. And sometimes that can make metallic paints, glitter paints, metallic pencils just perform better. They really like having a dark background. So let's look and see what you think. I do think they look better on the black. They're holding up their colors. You can tell that this is a purple. You can tell that that's a green. So they're doing pretty good. Sometimes when we put these paints onto black, we lose some of the colors and it all looks silver, or they all start looking really close in color and you have to really want it to want to see the differences in color. But so far they seem to be doing okay on black. Just a little disappointing. Still, my favorite is that lime gold and that sunset. So pretty. It's those gold shiny bits that they're putting in there that is really paying off well on the black paper. Now, to give you a base to compare it against, these metallic paints, let's look at some others that I've already swatched. We'll flip down here. Here, these are where I have my metallic and glitter paints. So this is by Niji, the Pearlescent 21 color. This is by Hobby Lobby right here. This is a Fine Tech Premium right there. And then here's my current favorite, the Paul Rubens. And then here's another really favorite, the Kuretake Gonzai Tambai paint. I think I said that right. So I'll move these. These are my current favorite right here in the light so that you can see their color payoff and their shine payoff. Two different things I want you to look at there. And now, so look at all that. And now we'll compare it to the top 3 rows of our Derwent paints. They are really falling flat compared to that other brand, to the Paul Rubens and the Kuretake Gonzai. Let's see if they look a little bit more like the Niji maybe. Are they more Niji-ish? I don't know. The Niji has a better metallic payoff, I think. So I think the Nijis are even beating the Derwent, and this is a really inexpensive set right here. Hobby Lobby was a very cheap set too. Then you get into the more expensive like the Fine Tech and the Paul Rubens and the Kuretake. They're just a little bit more money, but they're not more money than the Derwent, what I spent on, except for maybe Paul Rubens. They're pretty pricey, but they're very worth it in my opinion. Okay, so let's also look at a few here on the white for comparison. Let's see, here's the Hobby Lobby ones right here. And here's my Paul Rubens. So I'll move the Paul Rubens and these all in the light and then come back and look at these. Yeah, they're just not shining as much as I would want them to. Now, the other thing I wanted to look at together was as a group, because judging by the way they are packaged and the way they're being advertised when you go look at Derwent's website, they're putting them sort of together. Obviously they are, because they made that mixed media set that has the pencils and the paint together. So they're kind of imagining us using them as a team together. So I wanted to look and see, for instance, is the red in the paint the same red as the red in the pencil? What do you think? Let me bring it up. Is that red right there the same as that red? Okay, let's look at blue together. These two blues right here. Is that the same blue as that blue? Could I use them together? Let's look at one more together. Let's look at the sunset because I love it so much. Actually, we don't have a sunset pencil, so we can't look at that one. Let's look at green. There's the two greens, and right here is our only green. We have this yellowy, weird green, but we don't have like a lime gold. So I would say, just by looking at these, that they are the same colors. Let's look at pink. Pink and pink. This one may be a little bluer, but not far off. Here's our two purples, purple and purple. That's pretty good too. So I'm overall feeling like these could be worked as I think they were intended. You could paint out a bunch of, say, the pink, and then come in with this more opaque pink on top of it to give it some shading and depth. That would be a really fun and interesting way to work with it. I wish that we had Sunset and Lime Gold down here, because these are my two favorite pans right here, the Sunset and Lime Gold. Comment below, do you think they look better on the white paper, or do you think they look better on black paper? How would you use these tools? Another thing I wanted to show you was a little swatching I did here in my art journal. Let's see, right here. What I wanted to test here, again, this was the mixed media set, so I only have 6 paints, and then I have the, I think it's 12, how many pencils? 13, no, it was 12 pencils that came with this. Wanted to see how it acts. This mixed media book here, or this art journal that I work in, is a watercolor paper, so it's giving it as much advantage as possible. And what I did was do these really large circles with a watercolor brush, not a water brush, and then after it dried I came back and did a second stripe of color on top of what dried, so that I could see if you layer up the paint, will you get a more opaque, a more metallic payoff. And I think it's kind of mixed results. You can see from these swatches why I was drawn to the lime gold and the sunset. Look at that shine. So the only other one that's really shining is the silver. So this is, after I did this swatch, that's when I decided that I really needed to purchase the 12 and see if there were any other colors as spectacular as lime gold, sunset, and silver. I think my final thoughts on the Derwent paint set, this one right here, is if you've got the money in... No, you know, I wouldn't buy it. I think my advice would be to buy the 3 colors that are really good. The lime gold and the sunset first, and then if you want to add silver and some of those other golds, you can. But if you just bought lime gold and sunset, I think it would only be $5. You'd get the 2 best colors in the whole set, and you wouldn't have all these other colors that just sort of fell flat. So that would be my advice. Maybe not spend your money here. You could save your money up and get the Paul Rubens. Those are gorgeous. Or just buy 2 of the pans because they are beautiful. The lime gold and sunset. Can't wait to do some art with that. I hope that helped you with this beautiful set of colors and helps you decide what to purchase and how to spend your money. Remember, we're not a sponsored channel here. I purchased all these products with my own money, so to help us out and keep our business going, make sure you hit that thumbs up, you subscribe, and then come on over to Coloring Bliss, where you can see all the cool things we have there available for you. Thanks for all your support, and thanks for watching. I hope you have a wonderful, colorful, blissful day. Bye-bye, everyone.